Want to know how you can gain access to capital to jumpstart your journey to entrepreneurial success? For entrepreneurs who are just starting out or those who have been in business for years, Minority Business Access is your podcast. Welcome to our show, where we will guide you in avoiding the pitfalls and thriving in your chosen business. Now, onto the show with your host, Solomon Ali.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to Minority Business Access. It is always a pleasure to be your host and bring you new content and share information with you from experts in their field and the things that are actually going on. Today I have with you Aaron Young, who is going to share some of the great things that he's doing, things that are happening actually in his industry, and he's actually taking his company public, which is really exciting. So Aaron Young, thank you so much for being on Minority Business Access.
It's always good to be here with you and an honor to be on the show.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
One, you're taking your company public.
Yeah.
What made you decide that you wanted to do that?
So the company's celebrating its 50th anniversary.
Wow.
And it's been a neat company. We've had hundreds of thousands of clients. We have many thousands now. And we just realized in order to do what we think is possible and is actually a timely thing to do for small business owners, we couldn't do it on our own steam. So we needed to enlist the public instead of it being a privately held company, sell it to the public, bring in that money, and be able to really throw some fuel on the fire that we want to start. There's a big need out there right now to help small business owners get not only access to, but also cohesive access to legal, accounting, and financial services.
Okay.
And most of them avoid. A lot of small business owners don't want to talk to a lawyer, don't want to talk to a CPA. They want to do everything the least expensive way possible. And we think that there's a movement right now, accelerated by COVID, that gives us an opportunity to really go out and attack a need in the market, but we needed more capital to do it. So we decided the public route was the way to go.
So when you say, I guess, COVID, because COVID affected a lot of businesses and things of that nature, and I think it, for my opinion anyway, I don't know what that means, but my opinion is that we're going to have a gig economy, gig workers and things of that nature. How will that impact your business or your industry for that?
Okay, so our industry is the resident agent, incorporation, corporate compliance industry. So if you're going to set up a corporation or LLC, you might come to us. We've been doing it for 50 years. And then there are a bunch of other sort of foundational pieces that all businesses need. Large companies have in-house accounting people. They have in-house legal people and so on. But the vast majority of small companies are one owner, two owners. They're doing everything from their hip pocket. They know how to do what they do, but they don't really know how to run a business. Right?
Okay.
And so the thing that was so interesting about the COVID pandemic and everything, or very many things shutting down, was a lot of workers had to figure out other ways to earn an income.
Okay.
Now, we've had things like Fiverr and WeWork and groups like that, or virtual assistants in the Philippines or India. That was kind of what were those things, those video discs? Remember kind of where we went from the cassette tapes to they had those great big things, looked like a big record. And it was an interim technology. And I think things like Fiverr and WeWork were a great idea and continue to be a good idea. But when you're hiring, you don't really know who you're working with and so on. And so it's been awkward. I think what's happening is this idea of outside employees, not under your roof, W-2, full benefits and all that stuff. And the idea of the young people of going to work at the firm or the factory for 30 years, paying off their house, retiring in their local community, it just isn't really the thing anymore.
Right. I agree with you. I think that day is long gone. One of the things I was looking at was since COVID, okay, companies got smarter. They realized they don't need as many employees working from an office space, that they can work from home. So that, to me, for your industry is like, wait a minute, you're going to have all of these gig employees or gig subcontractors that are going to be working for companies that's going to have to start a business. They're going to need to know how to run a business, and they're going to need some help doing that and being guided through that whole process. Where perhaps an attorney is not affordable, accounting people are not all affordable, but with your company that's been doing it for 50 years, which definitely you guys are experts and leaders in this industry, how will that impact the growth of your company?
So what you said, I totally agree with as far as COVID put people out into the virtual world. And companies got smarter and they said, we don't need all these employees. We don't just need them under a roof. We don't need them at all. And that's unfortunate for a lot of people that lost their jobs. It actually is a shaking out and improving, a strengthening of companies themselves. But that leaves all these people. Now, in times past, as I was alluding to a minute ago, that might have been harder for people getting laid off and they don't know what to do. But the young people that are coming up, I've got kids that range from 22 to 31 years old. They don't really see themselves staying in one place. They don't see them staying in one job. And so the internet, the access to high speed, Wi-Fi is everywhere. They can do almost everything from a smartphone or from a laptop. So all of a sudden, now these people that got kind of shaken out, the younger ones especially, but actually some older ones too, which we can address in a minute. But the younger ones now are saying, hey, look, I can be mobile. I can spend 3 months working and then go to Bali. I can go down to Tulum and sit on the beach and on my laptop and I can work a few hours and then I can go explore the jungle. Now, for us with gray hair, we're like, who would do that? There's no security in that. Like, what are you going to do? But that is what's happening. And so what's going to happen is the laws around what you're doing, protecting yourself from the world that you're engaging with, the tax benefits that are available even to a one-person company.
Wow.
These gig employees can now be their own company. They can just take gigs from anywhere in the world. They can earn their money. If it's a corporation, they can be a W-2 employee of their own company. They own it, but they're also an employee. So they have a pay stub and so on. They can go get a loan. They can go buy a car. They can rent a house or buy a house. They can do all that. And I don't think they know that right now for the most part.
Right.
And a big thing that we see is in the gig economy is taking millions of people. I'm going to go one step further.
Okay.
This gig economy is global. You've got people like Jeff Bezos, and is it also Richard Branson, that want to put up these arrays of satellites, free Wi-Fi. Mark Zuckerberg's out giving out free phones into third world countries. These people need to be legally organized in the jurisdiction where they're working. And if they're in the United States,
correctly. So Aaron, what you're saying is you can hire someone as a gig worker from Africa, but they have to be structured correctly here in the United States.
That may not be the exact correlation, but what I guess I'm saying is what's happened right now is truly making the global economy come down to the grassroots level.
Okay. So if I just want to try to regurgitate what I hear you say. So if I'm the employer, I can put out a whatever and say, hey, I need someone to do this particular assignment anywhere on the globe. And then they can come in and get that job done for me.
And that gig worker who's here, who's in the United States, who can't find a regular job or got displaced from a job, can do the same thing.
Wow.
They can work for Africa. They can work for Europe. They can work for Hong Kong.
So it's going both ways.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you have all these people who are tech savvy, who grew up with a keyboard in their hand. If they have a corporation, if they have an LLC, if they know how to use it, if they learn a few basic business principles, they can be a company of one. They can live the lifestyle they want to. They can get the asset protection that they need as they build some success and wealth. And they get all the tax deductions that the big mega companies get. They can get it all. And this is just how the economy is changing. 150 years ago, we went from a fully agrarian economy basically to an industrial economy. And we went into a communication economy. And now we're into this sort of very mobile economy. And the faster the internet gets and the more data that can go through it, the more things that can be done. And a brilliant person doesn't have to be stuck doing what somebody else gave them to do. They can actually create their own deal.
Well, Aaron, everything that's so exciting, and I'm hearing about what you're talking about, and I'm thinking about COVID and how that has changed the economy and what's actually taking place. So In your own words, you got the economy changing from what it was. So now we're going into post-COVID. What does that look like?
Well, first of all, I believe that, as we talked about at the beginning, a lot of big companies are downsizing. So we talked about the young people, which it doesn't have to be young people doing gig work, but I think it's going to be all of us. But I think that younger people than I'm 57, younger people than me are going to be more involved in the gig economy.
Yeah, we're the same age.
We are. Well, there you go. If something's working good for both of us then. Yeah. But the thing that's interesting about other people who've gotten downsized and who took their 401k or their IRA and they self-directed it and they started some kind of a business, right? All these small companies, closely held, I'm going to call them micro businesses. One person, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. They're just very small companies. There is a fundamental dislike amongst virtually every small entrepreneur I've ever met. They resist engaging an attorney. They don't really all the way trust them, right? They don't trust the billing. It just scares them to death. They want to use TurboTax or Uncle Bob or their niece or somebody to do their taxes because it's less expensive. Maybe they can fudge a little bit, right? And then many of them, they may not think they have enough money to look for financial strategy or so on and so forth. I don't mean buying insurance. I mean, how can I take the money in the best way, pay the least amount of taxes, get the most bang for my buck with what I've got? So to the point, what we want to build, most customer-centric business, high touch with the customer, high tech in the back, most customer-centric business that does legal accounting and financial tasks. We're not a law firm. We're not an accounting firm. Not now. Now we might buy one, but those tasks can be done, most of them, without having to go to $400 or $500 an hour.
So what industry are you guys exactly in?
Well, right now, we're exactly in the resident agent, incorporation, corporate compliance industry.
So
okay.
Because of COVID, and now we're in post-COVID, the economy has changed, and you're going to have all these gig workers out there. So your company is just, your industry is going to grow tremendously.
Yes.
Just because of the millions of people who will not have jobs, who will have to become gig workers. So that's going to create a growth in your industry, and that's also going to create a huge growth in your company. That's phenomenal.
That's the hope.
Okay.
And so the idea is, I don't know if I can say this on a recording, but I'm just going to do it anyway.
Okay, let's do it.
My vision is, so I really love Disney World. And I was almost against Disney World because I was so loyal to Disneyland. Okay. But then I went to Disney World. And at Disney, when you go to fly into Orlando, you drive past, here's a strip mall, and here's a Ferris wheel, and here's putt-putt golf, and there's all these things to distract you.
Right. Okay.
And that's like a lot of things in business. Oh, here's somebody's idea, here's somebody's conference, here's what some lawyer said, here's a podcast I heard, right? All this disparate stuff. Then you pull through the gates of Disney World, and everything changes. Everything looks cohesive, right? And if you want to go to a theme park and ride roller coasters, if you want to go to a water park and go down a slide, if you want to go golfing, if you want to go to a bowling alley or a movie theater or a restaurant or whatever, well, it's not just all there, it all feels connected. You see what I mean? It's cohesive. You know you're at Disney. There's nothing like that I've ever found for business owners, where they can come and work with a group of companies that specialize in legal issues, in accounting and bookkeeping and tax resolution and incorporation and compliance and insurance and on and on and on, where that company is able to move that customer, no matter where they come into the universe, just like Disney, where once you get there, there's no reason to leave. And then the trick is, as we acquire other companies that fit this pattern, then to really have the leadership together and say, how do we process to make it easy for the customer? So we go to the customer doesn't have to come to us. And how do we organize the information that we have with these customers so we can anticipate needs, so that we can not ever be pushing them to anything, but helping them find the mile markers where it's time to, now we add this, now we do that, now we look at this, Now we take it up a level. Now we add a second company. Now, I think we can do that. And I think that there's a hunger amongst the small, medium-sized business owner. So that's one person up to hundreds of employees, but they're not a big enterprise company. There's a hunger amongst that leadership to have a go-to place where they can kind of get everything done, where people are talking to each other. Because right now, a lot of entrepreneurs, you go to your lawyer and ask a question, and then go ask the same question to the CPA, you're going to get different goals. And then what do? And then you go to your financial advisor and they say, no, don't do that. So that leaves that person flapping in the wind. What I want to do is be able to bring those people together and make a cohesive plan to help that business owner. So the owner focuses on their business, and this group focuses on their asset protection and their wealth growth.
One of the exciting things about your company and what it does for companies and what it truly means, in my opinion, is this. It helps companies to stay compliant, first and foremost. It helps companies to keep all their records and everything in order. So if they're looking to access capital, they don't have to worry about, hey, do I have my paperwork in order? Everything's there. It's already in order. And so that's a benefit. And people now coming into this new gig economy are going to be faced with, oh, wow, I may have been a great mechanic, but now I have to be my own boss. And they're going to have to learn a different skill sets. And that's where a company like yours that's established 50 years of experience, you guys, 50 years. That's a lot of years of experience to help guide you and direct you in your business endeavor and let you do what you do best, while they help you to focus on what you don't do or don't know and direct that. And as a public company, what I hear you saying is, look, we're willing to share the growth opportunity as we scale and grow with our new stakeholders and things of that nature, so that they can come in and invest in Aaron's company and become stakeholders as they continue to do the next 50 years. I think that's phenomenal.
You've nailed it, exactly. And I just want to say, this industry isn't a flashy industry. This doesn't have movie stars, and this isn't some new cure for cancer or something. It's not the flashy stuff. But all the flashy stuff has to be built on this foundation. And that means everybody out there that wants to be in business needs somebody like us to get them organized and then to help them start and grow and profit and protect what they're doing. And so I believe that if we can realize this dream, this kind of Disney World dream, if we can do it, and I believe we can, I think we've got the team together to do it, I really believe this will disrupt a whole bunch of industries.
Wow, I think so too. We're running out of time, but one of the exciting things about you guys seem to be at the right place at the right time. And that sounds so cliche.
Well, we waited 50 years.
We waited 50 years to actually do this. And it's like, wow. And because of COVID and the change in our whole economic climate and society, it's like, wait a minute, you guys are positioned just right to experience tremendous amount of growth. And I think that's just phenomenal.
Yeah, we believe so. And the more business owners I talk to, and of course we have thousands of business owner clients now, and other people as I travel around and speak and teach people about business, they like it. And they're like, well, when can we get in and what can we do? And we're here in Denver while we're filming this. And I've had multiple people come up and say, hey, I understand that you're doing this. How could my company fit into your vision? So maybe it's an accounting practice or a financial strategy practice or something. And they're coming up and going, how could I be part of, not just be a client, how could they be in it?
So basically what you're talking about is your company definitely is poised to grow, triple-digit growth within an industry that is actually going to be developed by you.
It's going to be new. I don't know anybody else that's doing what we're talking about doing. And it'll be a great opportunity for business owners. It'll be a great opportunity for investors. My goal a long time ago, people always say, what's your passion? What's your purpose? What's your thing? And I kept trying to think of what it was. And I thought about all my life experience, all the companies that I've started, all the things that I've done. And it's almost all been working with business owners. And I thought, and that's since I was 23 years old, 23 years old, when I was one of the first cellular phone dealers in the Northwest.
So that's like 37 years.
It's a long time ago. You go back to when I started my first cellular phone company in 1986, believe me, it was only lawyers, stockbrokers, doctors, buying. I was working with owners. Nobody could afford 40 cents a minute and a $30,000 phone. And it just has morphed ever since then. I decided that the best way I can make a ripple into the world is help more businesses stay in business for more years, making more money. And I think this is the way to do it. When they stay in business and make more money, they give money to charity, they contribute to the Little League team, they hire more people, they pay health insurance, they do all these things, and that's how communities grow, and that's the ripple effect we can make in the world.
Aaron, we're out of time on Minority Business Access. Everyone, I hope this has been a true benefit and a help to you to learn about a new industry, learn about why a CEO will take his company public, what it means to people like you who may have the opportunity to invest in that company in its early stages. Because listen, people, that's where you receive the hugest rewards. When I say rewards, what I'm talking about is the huge gains. That's how you get the 300, 500, 4,000 or 5,000% returns on your money. When you get in the early stages and figure out, hey, wow, the company is growing. It's growing within a new industry or creating a new industry, and it's going to be able to grow by triple digits. But not only that, the management has been doing something right for over 50 years. This is a company that's been around for over 50 years. You really need to do your homework, do your due diligence, look at the company, take a good look at it. You want to be a part of it. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Minority Business Access. It's been a pleasure talking to you once more. And Aaron Young, thank you so very much. We appreciate you coming on Minority Business Access.
Thanks, Solomon. Anytime.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Minority Business Access podcast. Connect with us at solomonrcali.info to leave a review and access more resources. We hope you enjoyed this show and found great value. See you at the next episode.